Welcome to Model Horse Tack School. My name is Carrie, and today I thought I already did this. I guess I didn't, but people are asking how to do raised, like a raised brow band or maybe a raised, it was all the rage for a while, like on martingales, the straps would be raised, and I can do it. I could show you the layered way. This is the way I would do it. And so, yes, here's all my round stuff here. You're going to need layers. I'm going to use a skiver. This is I don't use it a lot on many things, but this is a skiver. Really, really thin. Bought it this color. And I would use that. And then you're going to use whatever for your top. And this here is just some skived. In fact, it needs a little bit more work, so I'll probably get out my nail drill and flatten that as much as possible. And then you need something to make the raised. All right, so you could, I mean, like I said, it's layered, so we could go with this on the bottom, and then we need something that's going to give that effect, that raised effect. And you're only going to do it, like if this is a brow band, you're only going to do it, you know, in front of the ears. So right to where the ear ball starts to right to where the ear ball starts. It's not, it wouldn't go all the way around. So when you do, you know, you do your fold over, and then, you know, the straps go in here for the cavesson and the headband. Your raised is going to start like right about there. It's not going to go all the way because you would have other options here if you wanted to. You could have like an oval ring or a piece of wire or something to separate the throat latch and the cheek piece, right? So your actual raise is going to start further in. Now this is going to be, this is 1/9 scale if you're going to do it for anything smaller. The process is the same. You're just going to need to get narrow and narrower. And so yeah, just get narrow and narrower to fit the brow band size. So, and this is all scrap I'm using right here. So what I could do is I could make this, once the glue dries, then I could drop it in some dye, you know, black dye maybe, because this will dye. Dye will just, and I could paint it too, but the dye will take on the leather. Okay, so, I mean, you can use regular, like, leather lace if you want. This is not going to be wide enough because you're covering, you're going to cover this. So that's why I'm using an 1/8 inch. So you could use 1/8 inch leather lace, and you're end up getting a 3/32. You could underneath use another piece of leather lace, but usually this stuff is thicker than a good skiver. Now, if you don't have skiver, there's interfacing. They usually have like a, don't get the fusible, but you got a sew-in interfacing. You could use that. Okay, so this is just an example. I'm going to go ahead and tried really hard to get these lumps out, but that should be okay. So what we're going to do is, this is a 1 millimeter piece of leather. I don't know what they call it. Look at it all the time. It's a leather cord. And it's not braided, it's an actual leather cord. So 1 millimeter, can be any color because it's going in the middle. But you need something that you can make that bump, what is it, bump, is it, in the middle with? So let's figure out how long we need our brow band. And then we'll go ahead and that's the length I want just of the raised part. Put that, you know, there in the middle. And getting that centered is kind of important. Now again, this is just an example, right? So now what we can do, If you want, I mean, you can cut this ahead of time. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to glue. You need it kind of sloshy, if that makes sense. The glue, so you almost over glue it because you need to be able to, you want it in here, in this gap, right there. And if you glue it in place first, it makes this a lot easier. So I didn't need to let it sit for long to set up, but. And now I'm gonna need some type of stylus or other. We'll see which one works, because leather likes to make its own decisions. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it down. Whenever the lining is, and like I said, if you don't have a super thin skiver, you can pick, probably use a interfacing might work. I've done that before in place of skiver if it's not going to be seen. Just because it's thin, it doesn't unravel. So if you have anything like that, that's helpful. So I'm trying now to roll it down and then try and get from both sides. We're trying to squeeze right in to where that is. And you may have to work it a few times with different tools till you find what works. But the idea is to get even amount of leather on both sides. Kind of see what I'm doing here, and I'll smooth it later, but I got to get that down and like that, and then I can use something to smooth it. Okay, we're getting that look. Yes, it takes time and patience. And sometimes, like right in here, it didn't take as well as it should have, so see if we can't pull that up. Try that again. A little bit better. Another reason why Aleene's tacky glue has been my best friend making tack. So it'll set up in 5 seconds, but doesn't actually dry for 24 hours. So you have a lot of work time if you need it. So kind of see how the raise is raising. Now if you can find 1/2 millimeter, obviously the narrower that is, the better, right? So now I would trim away my lining. And I don't need it where it's going to fold over, because that's just extra. You know, the fold over for the Browband or whatever buckle and the martingale or whatever. And this needs to be worked a little more. So do it right. Let's see. And then give it 24 hours to dry, and then you can dye it whatever color. All right, so that's one example. I think that was a little bit too far raised. So what else do we have that I've tried? It's about the thinnest. Oh, I have this plastic, probably better. This is more of a 0.5. So we could try it again with something thinner. I've tried, just, you know, I've tried pearl and I've tried embroidery thread. And they're not stiff enough to hold up. So if you wanted to stiffen them first, you might get a more subtle effect depending upon what you're going for. So, okay, here's a kangaroo. And it's 1/8 inch. That other one was a little wider than 1/8. So I'll go ahead and try this. We'll try this and see what happens. Because you have to find the right materials. Oh, and here's a wire I think would also work. Okay, so here's some kangaroo. And that looks too thick for that. We're never going to get a wrap on that. What about this one? Yeah, I don't think we'll get a wrap on that either. What if I got this nice and thin? What about this? All right, let's try a small piece of this. Let's see what we get. We'll try this piece. If you ever have a piece of wire that's got funny little crinkles in it, get your duckbills out or your platypus jaws or whatever and work at getting rid of them. Okay. It's probably longer than I would ever need on an animal. And this is going to be harder to glue. And right smack in the middle. That's what we're trying for. I would put, you'll want the right side up because you want that touching your animal. Let's see. Trim that a little better. All right. Sometimes you just have to experiment with what works best and what you have. I gotta tell you, sometimes fingernails are the best tools. So it would be your headband. No. But there you go. That's how you can do a raised headband or brow band. And that's the problem with the wire, though, is you can get it all wiggly and then wish that you hadn't. So there's two ideas. And I probably need to run a blade along there to straighten that up. So there's your wire, there's your plastic cord. The main trick is to make sure that you can go and cover all of whatever is in here for the raised. So you can do a nose bend the same way. You could do, because you could cut your nose band instead of using something like this, is go ahead and cut something shaped and use that to make a thicker nose band. The other thing is, if you have the right tooling leather, you can tool in, you squash down your outside and leave your inside up. But at this scale, it has to be the right tooling leather. Not a lot of tooling leathers have enough give for that to happen. So those are two ways you can do your raised brow band. I hope that gives you an idea. Thank you for spending time with me today. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and have a good day.